Before being an English teacher and before joining the JET program, I had to work for a Japanese company that paid me 980 yen per hour. And that was the worst job I've ever had here in Japan. Yahoo! Welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, hi, my name is Pat, the ugly expat in Japan. If you're planning to come to Japan through the student visa route, this video may give you a glimpse of what it's like to work part-time here. For student visa holders, you can actually work 28 hours a week during a regular school term, but you can actually bump it up to 40 hours per week when it's a school break. And as international students, these are the common blue-collar jobs that are readily available for people who have zero or basic Japanese communication skills. The agency that processed our Japan student visa helped us land a part-time job as a warehouse logistics sorter or staff. When we arrived in Japan, I believe it was October 1, 2017, we didn't have to wait for a month to start working on our part-time job. My friends and I were more than happy to accept the 980 yen per hour part-time job because that was the only way that we could finance ourselves here. In that part-time job, we didn't get any other benefits. We only had that hourly wage. Plus, the company organized a free transportation that picked us up from a certain train station and brought us to the warehouse and vice versa. As for the working hours, if I remember it correctly, I worked only Tuesdays, Thursdays, and at first both Saturday and Sunday, but I begged to be off on a Sunday. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we started working late in the afternoon until 10 or 9 in the evening. And on weekends, Saturday, we had to start from 9 to 6. And I believe we had a 1-hour break. Physically, the job was demanding, routinary, borderline boring, but I somehow managed to survive roughly 5 months there. To be honest, the physical aspect of the job wasn't much of an issue for me because I've already conditioned my mind that in that job I really had to move a lot, and somehow it was beneficial for me because I didn't only get paid, I also lost a lot of weight there. I was able to achieve a very slim physique because of the mental challenge and struggle. Because of the physical demands of that job. We had to push big carts of grocery items. We had to sort out a lot of vegetables, fruit, milk, all those grocery items that you see at a supermarket or a grocery store. And we also had to push a lot of stacked basket carts. So yeah, it was physically demanding, but that was a good exercise. I just thought of it as a free gym membership where I got to be paid at the same time. Aside from getting paid and achieving a slim figure from that part-time job, I still considered it the worst job I've ever had here in Japan. Why? It was because of the mental strain. Basically, the job was wrecking my mental health. My Filipino friends were there to help me cope with the situation, but I wasn't as good as them when it comes to communicating in Japanese. So they somehow found that job easier than I did because they were able to communicate with the Japanese bosses and other Japanese coworkers. But in my case, all the time that I was there, I felt like I was tiptoeing or second guessing myself whether I understood the instructions correctly, whether I was doing the right thing. So that took a lot on my mental health. I really tried to look for another job that I find interesting. And another thing, that job opened my eyes to a different side of Japan. Because before coming to Japan as an international student, my job back in the Philippines mostly was about teaching English to Japanese students, and almost all of the students I've met as an ESL teacher were very refined, polite, courteous, and respectful. But when I worked at that warehouse, people were of a different kind. They spoke with strong accents. They didn't slow down when they spoke in Japanese, and it's like they were always angry with the tone of the voice that they spoke with. So yeah, I was taken aback. I was surprised with how people interacted. in that warehouse. But yeah, that was one of the culture shocks that I've experienced here in Japan. Hopefully, you get to experience also that side of Japan when you come over here. Because maybe from your countries, from where you're coming from, you might have very lofty, euphoric, you might have a very positive image of Japan because, yeah, the media does not show the other, maybe not so good sides of Japan. But if you would have a chance to live here longer, I believe you'd also experience different facets, different sides of what Japan is. Going back to the hourly wage, 900 yen per hour is roughly 6.25 US dollars. And I think Americans who are thinking of, coming to Japan as international student and find part-time jobs, that might not be very enticing for you because of, it's maybe low compared to the other blue collar jobs in your country. But for us Filipinos and for my coworkers coming from Vietnam, 980 yen was somehow reasonable and okay for us. Because if I convert that to Philippine peso, that's roughly 367 pesos. And if you are a laborer in the Philippines, if you're a skilled worker there, getting 367 is like you have to work for a day just to earn that wage. But in Japan, that value, that amount can be achieved within an hour of working. So yeah, that was how I consoled myself, and that was my motivation. I just thought that I couldn't find a blue collar job that will offer me this kind of wage if I worked there in the Philippines. That was how I thought of it, just to endure the mental strain and the mental load of that part-time job. I was always beat, I was drained, I was very tired after work, that I didn't have the energy to scan my textbooks because yeah, I was a student during that time, and as a student visa holder, our priority is to study. But I was just too tired after work to study and prepare for the next day's lesson. So good thing, after 5 months or so, I found an English teaching job at an Eikaiwa school. So I resigned from that warehouse job. I don't want to sound, act, or be rude in this video, and I'm not looking down on skilled workers or people who have blue-collar jobs here in Japan or anywhere in the world. I considered that part-time job as the worst job I've ever had here in Japan, basically because it didn't align with my skills, my personalities, and my long-term goals. That skilled job didn't offer pathways for us to continue living here in Japan. It didn't offer a different kind of visa, a working visa, after our student visa expired. So I didn't see the logic of doing my best there because there was just no way they would sponsor us a working visa. So that's the main reason why I considered it the worst job ever. But it's not that I'm saying that that job is not good. Yeah, if I decided to stay there longer, maybe my mental health would have reached rock bottom. But anyways, if you were an international student, would you consider working part-time at a warehouse as a sorter or logistics staff? Let me know in the comments. But if you are more interested in teaching English here in Japan and knowing what the salary is like, I've made this video here for you to watch. So go check it out and I'll see you there. Mata ne!